I'll tell you what, Nicholas. I was in Canada for a little over a week and not a goddamn sniffle. I spent 5 minutes in fucking Massachusetts, and you'd think I'd been fucking snorting cocaine for 10 years. Just couldn't stop sniffing. And with that,
Oh man.
ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of all ages, the Dork Shared Gooniverse and Geeks Worldwide Radio proudly presents to you the greatest podcasting team in the world. He's the Fry guy, Nick Friar. I'm the Backracker, Dr. Joe. Together we are woodwarding, and Bernsteining all over this son of a bitch. And you can hear my daughter giggling in the background. And with that, we are the TLDR Comic Book Club, baby. Nicholas, how we doing?
I am doing splendidly, Joe. Although I will admit that the good doctor had to save my ass this morning.
Holy shit. I returned from a fucking 12-hour fucking travel yesterday. Not a lot of sleep, and I'm the one on the fucking ball this morning.
Thank God I tend to wake up before 8 in the morning, but I thank God I did today because I never have my alarm set. Then it's like absolute latest, actually 8:15. It would have been screwed because we had an interview set for early in the morning because we were talking to somebody across the pond. And before you tell you who that was, the only way you're gonna be able to hear it is if you subscribe to one of our audio channels, whether that's Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, Geeks Worldwide Radio, wherever you listen to podcasts, we're there. If you can't find us where you listen to us, let us know. DM us on Twitter or Instagram. We'll make sure we get our stuff over there for you. But Joe, who did we just talk to earlier today?
Well, as I mentioned to him earlier, I find it astounding that we keep having these guests on and they keep wanting to come back. So we've got yet another returning guest, officially a friend of the podcast, Kieran Gillen. And this is important for two things. One, we will be discussing with him, or we discussed with him, I should say, the finale of Once and Future, which was one of the first books I talked about on this show. It is a book that is near and dear to my heart. But it's also, important because we are, Nicholas, as he told us, the first interview he has given about the finale for Once and Future.
Damn straight. Damn friggin' straight. So you know what? No matter what, if you see stuff written between now and then, because that audio is going to be dropping the day that the final issue of Once and Future comes out. So it's not going to be the Wednesday that after we're recording this. It's going to be a little bit later on. No matter what, we are the first group of people that he has talked to about the book that have read the book. So
yes.
It was a good time, fun time, special interview. Yeah, and I couldn't agree with you more. Like getting the chance to talk with him about Die when it wrapped up, Once and Future as it wraps up, two books that you've talked about on this show, and I love Once and Future. Like Die to me, he talked about how it's a very personal book. And again, if you haven't heard that interview, you can go listen to that one. Stephanie Hans was on with us that as well. That had like a different kind of emotion to it, a different kind of pacing to it, and it's a lot to take in. And I love that series, and it knocked my socks off. Once and Future was one where I thought I was going to like it, I didn't do it, and that is I would say the like ideal TLDR book because I was interested in it. I didn't go and look at it. You had read it, talked about it on the show. Boom, I got on it. And then, between reviewing it and being on top of it, like I never missed it. It was one of the best books every single month. But that is coming to an end next week. That is not coming to an end this week, but just a little tease for what's ahead. Go subscribe to the show now. Listen to some of the older interviews that we've had because Lord knows we've had plenty recently, Joe.
Yeah, and you'll get a little Lord of the Rings talk too at the end, which was a lot of fun. So definitely can't wait for that interview to drop. And again, two books that I discussed and that you read, and then you later rediscussed, on the show. The whole point premise of the show. So those are great examples of that.
Yeah. Now, quick catching up because we do have the solicit. We're doing the October solicit, looking ahead at everything that's coming out each Wednesday throughout the month. If you are new to the show, catching up though quickly, Joe. Obviously, we took a little bit of break last week because you were in parts unknown. But again, we did have an interview last week as well. Chuck Brown joined the show to talk
Yeah.
about Flawed, which we both really enjoyed. Came out from Image Comics, of course, one of the co-writers on Bitter Root, which I did talk about on the show shortly before we had him on. Before that was all planned out, kind of just worked out that way. But as for catching up, Joe, what are some of the ones that you wanted to highlight from the past week?
So I caught up on AWA's The Joneses,
Mm.
and this is a book that I think you just read the first issue on, right?
No, I think I read the first three.
Oh, you
Yeah.
son of a bitch.
We didn't call dibs. That's not on me. I
Yeah,
was ahead of
well,
you on this. What are you talking about?
yeah. This is a you're gonna have to. This is a TLD worthy book. I absolutely loved it. The end of it was absolutely stellar. I had been sitting on them and been sitting in my stack, and I ripped through them while I was up in the Great White North there. And because I remember reading the first issue, going, okay, this is not bad. And then I just hadn't read it, and then I finally got them all. And so the trade for this comes out next week or the week after, I believe. But this
Hmm.
this series was absolutely phenomenal, and it's definitely primed, for more arcs, down the run, down the way.
Mhm.
So I'm looking forward to that. I gonna find a way to talk about it more, on the show.
Hmm.
Um,
Maybe when I finish it up, we'll try and carve out a little bit of extra
yeah,
time.
something because it's worthy, and it made me think, right? Because this is a resistance, universe, book, and it's done so well. I
Mhm.
love, like, AWA has absolutely killed everything when it comes. Well, they kill everything, period. But when it comes to the resistance universe, they they've nailed like 9 times out of 10. The only missteps was that Knighted was part of the resistance universe. And it didn't quite feel like it, and Telepath wasn't, but it felt like it should have been.
Yes. Yeah,
Right?
agreed.
Right?
Yes.
So those are the only like little missteps there, but this was, I mean, I put it right up there with the resistance, right?
Mhm.
Moths was something, on a whole other plane, right? Which was absolutely extraordinary. But this the Joneses fits right in there, and I absolutely loved it.
So on this note, I think that you and I need to start getting a little firmer on calling dibs. I think we should do it more often. Actually, is kind of what I'm saying
Well,
because
you created the document there. This is a book that I remember you read the first issue, but I couldn't remember if you had kept reading it, and it's my fault. It sat in my stack for far too long. It's criminal,
But that's
that I
exactly
wasn't reading
why
this.
I think we should do this because I think that I look at my list and I'm looking at some of these things that I have popping up. It's like, oh, like Marvel and DC. We talk about Image so much on here, right? And of course, it totally it's deserving. But there are a lot of Marvel and DC books. I'm looking at my list as I'm starting to be like, these are the books I'm going to talk about here. There's a lot of DC books that like I kind of run behind on that are TLDR worthy books. I think that we just need to start calling dibs a little. You do a good job of it. I think we both need to do an even better job of it, though, moving forward. So that way, just to lighten the load in some capacity, because it's not like
Yeah,
you can't
yeah,
go back and read it, but that way we're
right,
on top of things all the time.
right. And the good thing, at least when it comes to DC and Marvels, we don't necessarily always read the same DC Marvel books. Like
This is true.
couple of the Marvel books, Punisher, Hulk, Wolverine, yes. DC, you don't even really, I don't even think you read the Batman main run. You definitely don't read Detective Comics.
Right.
You and I
I was
definitely don't read. We read more similar Marvel than we do DC.
Yes, I agree. Yep.
Yeah,
That's not where, but you
it's
know
it's
what,
it's
Joe?
the
It
Image,
would,
it's the AWAs, it's the
yes.
other indie books. We really gotta, stay on
Yes,
top of.
because like because I was just thinking, I forget what book it was, but I was looking at one and I was like, oh, I'm behind on this one. And I was thinking like someone I could see like running into Keith or Shime or somebody being like, how are you behind on this one? This one's so awesome. It's like they know we read a ton, but it's just I could imagine someone saying that to us because there are so many good books out there right now. And I think if we go and start calling dibs a little bit more frequently, now again, doesn't mean you stick to the dibs. You don't say married to the dibs necessarily, but I think that would help us a little bit more moving forward. Again, our dibs has a what is it like? It means a lot to call dibs, especially early on. Like if I don't know, you haven't seen the first issue of the book, you've just seen some of the cover art, and you want to call dibs on it because it looks really good. Like I don't know, Briar, which came out last week, Joe,
Yeah.
right? Hmm.
Yeah, it did. Yeah. Yeah,
Hmm.
it came out last week.
Yeah, it did.
And Doc's addled old brain at
Hmm.
granted 3 a.m., 4 a.m. Nova Scotian time. It was 3 a.m. here. I'm going through. I'm like, oh, I haven't read any of last week's books. I finally had a moment of some good internet, and I'm going through, and I'm reading the books, and I read Briar #1, and I go, there's some potential here. I kind of like this, and then I doze back off. I sleep. I was able to sleep for another hour or so. I get up. I have breakfast. I, get my wits about me, and I go, Nick, did you call dibs on Briar?
Mm-hmm.
And you said, yep. I said, okay, all right, okay, and then said nothing about it.
No, you said it stinks. That's what you said to me. You said I heard it stinks. It doesn't matter. Don't worry about it.
I was trying to throw you off.
Yeah.
Maybe to get you to uncall dibs. I was trying not to tip my hand that I
You
already
made
read it.
You fucking made it seem like you were just trying to bust my chops and screw with me. I was like, oh, okay, Joe didn't read it. He's just being a dick or whatever. I gave you the benefit for the doubt. The fool that I am, motherfucker. I find out the day before this show. Oh, yeah, no. Yeah. Red Briar issue 1. Yeah. Unbelievable. So we're going to call it now on because I feel like calling it Getting Good Asian would be in poor taste. This is getting briared. That's what this is from now on. When someone calls dips, getting briared. Because the other way around is not okay.
We can't have that. It is not acceptable under any circumstance.
No, it's fucked up. But the whole thing's fucked up. So maybe it would be appropriate. I don't know. But we're calling it briared. It's close enough to my name.
But what a story. What a good first issue, huh?
Yeah, really good first issue.
So to make amends, I've already made amends once.
Mm-hmm.
I will make a second amends. So the first amends was that Kieran Gillen wrote a book they were both interested in. This was the book that really put him on the map, The Wicked and the Divine. Mm-hmm. And this is a book that he loves dearly. And I've had it in my queue for a long time. And Nick grabbed a physical copy. So he said he grabbed it and he asked me if I read it. I said, I have it, but if you want it, you can have it. We'll give you, mm-hmm. I'll give you that.
Thank you.
The second amends is, I don't know if you remember this or not, but with Seven Secrets, I had read the first issue. We had both read the first issue. You called dibs and I backed off. So if you still want dibs, I will not continue to read Briar.
Okay. I am going to take you up on that because I think we need to hear more about it. And I think now we are completely even. Let the record show that I am no longer holding a grudge for Good Asian or for Briar. It
was a 2-for-1 deal. I mean, it did win an Eisner, Good Asian. So I mean, I made a good choice there.
Fucking bastard, Rich keeps texting us saying, "Oh, hey, not to bring up a sore subject, but Good Asian is pretty awesome." Yeah, I told you I knew before everybody else did.
But I'm the one that told the people about it, so that's what they'll remember.
Yeah, that's what they'll remember. So I obviously did read Briar as well. Awesome first issue. Definitely going to talk about it on the show as long as this continues. But I mean, the concept, everything, the action, the violence, the changes in the art styling too, everything about it. So much potential with this series. The other one that I caught up on too, I read a bunch of different stuff between now and last week, but The Roadie was another one I wanted to highlight. That's from Dark Horse. I am definitely going to be reading this one going forward. I was excited about this one. Our friend of the show, Ferg from Geeks Worldwide, also read this one. You had no real interest in this, correct? Because I believe I called dibs when we did this list.
Yeah. I can't. It's so much has happened between now and then, and so I think I texted you while I was away, and I said, let's make a little subtle change to catching up. We're gonna keep. Now I know I broke that with the Joneses, but I really wanted to talk about that real quick. But we're gonna start using catching up as a place to talk about number ones that we may not have gotten to, in weeks prior. Like books that we were geeked up about from prior solicits, they finally come out. And then for whatever reason, we didn't get to them that week. So because we talk about all the other books enough and what's new and all that. So it's mostly going to be number ones that we speak about in
100%. So Roadie is one that I call dibs on. That is from Dark Horse. Really enjoyed that first issue. It's like Constantine meets heavy metal. And I mean,
I remember now. Yeah.
I mean, that's right up my alley. So, I mean,
Yeah.
that is my alley, I would say, actually. So, very excited after the first issue, definitely delivered. So, and it is in the dock, Joe. So, I may need to make a
Yeah.
second tab for dibs. But anyways, enough dilly dallying. Let's get to the first week of October for what's new. Kick us off with Marvel.
All right, so we have Hulk number 9, which I have woefully fell behind on. I need to catch up. X-Men Red number 7. We have Edge of Spider-Verse number 5. Marauders number 7. Ant-Man number 4. Friend of the show, Rodney Barnes, is The Mandalorian, issue number 4. I'm just gonna, drop names wherever I get a chance here
Sure.
because we're
Gotta let the people
fucking
know.
fucking big time, baby.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Captain America, Sentinel of Liberty, number 5. The New Fantastic Four, number 5. Savage Avengers, number 6. Jane Foster and the Mighty Thor, number 5. And then we have a couple of number ones here that well, this first one here I actually kind of want to talk to because I'm very interested in this first one here.
Mhm.
And this is Spider-Man number 1,
Mhm.
written by writer Dan Schlott, art by Mark Bagley. The end of the Spider-Verse is here. Moreland is back, and he is not alone. Allied with one of the most powerful beings known to the Spider-Verse, the scariest spider villain of all time is making his biggest play, and no spider is safe, especially not the chosen spider himself, Peter Parker. With Peter working for Norman Osborn and using a glider, does he have it coming? Spidey's 60th anniversary is no joke, with the two most legendary spider creators working together on Spidey for the first time, and it's going to be one for the record book. So, new Spider-Man book. It's not being drawn by fucking dipshits, so I'm expecting good things from the art and from the story. So I'm definitely going to give this one a try here. We have sort of a reintroduction book to Miracle Man number 0. This has a slew of writers: Jason Aaron, Mike Carey, Neil Gaiman, Ty Templeton, Peach Momoko, and again, various artists, Lionel Francis, Paul Davidson, Mark Buck. So this just seems like it's going to be sort of a reintroduction to Miracle Man. I think they want
Mhm.
to, do something
They got
with
something
this.
later in the month planned for him. Yeah.
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 And then again, friend of the show, Kieran Gillen. He's pretty much been running this massive X-Men event with Axe. So we have Axe X-Men number 1, with art by Francisco Mobley, and then we have Axe Star Fox number 1, also written by Kieran, with art by Danielle Dinakulu. So
Yep. Who's a
these are
beast.
both Axe Judgment Day tie-in books. I think they're both one shots. So huge event there for Marvel going on.
Yeah, and Immortal X-Men is another one that Kieran's been doing that I've been planning on talking about on the show at some point too. But so Axe is involving X-Men and it's involving the Eternals, which obviously
Yes.
Kieran's been writing that series as well. And I know a lot of people like it, but Eternals, the problem is for me, it's just characters that have been around, but I just think I don't care about them quite as much. It's nothing to do with Kieran or I forget who the artist is in that series. But Axe is one that I do want to go and check out. I'm thinking about maybe like you've been kind of like just whatever on that, right? You're kind of fine
I've
not touching it.
I've just been reading X-Men mainline.
Yeah, so I might
That's it.
go and check that one out. I've been thinking about doing it. Maybe I'll go and so I'll call a tentative dibs right now, or dibs, and then see where how it looks after I read a few issues.
But I'm
The
gonna call an audible. I'm gonna give myself the chance to go read some of this stuff if the mainline X-Men gets too fucking confusing without having to read some of these.
Sure,
Because
sure,
one of
yeah,
two things is gonna happen. I'm just gonna stop reading fucking X-Men, or I'm
yeah.
gonna have to go back and read some of these things because last issue was a bit of a clusterfuck
Mm,
because there's a bunch of Eternal shit going on and it wasn't necessarily tied into the book prior. And I'm like, God,
yeah.
you gotta be fucking me.
The last Wolverine that I read, I don't know if it was the latest one. I feel like it was though. There was some Axe tie-in stuff going on there too. It still worked, but there was definitely some things going on that I was like, oh, I need to figure it out. So I'll definitely be giving this a look soon. And if we have to, maybe we'll do like a little special thing when Axe kind of wraps up. If you end up reading it too. But the one book from Marvel I did want to touch on for this week was Hulk issue 9. Just the one quick thing. Otley's back. The Banner of War is over. It was fun. The event was good. Now we got some more we got some Planet Hulk stuff kind of going on right now,
Oh boy, I gotta
and
catch
it
up.
and it is and what's so wild to me, like you get some cool action later on in the issue, but what Donny Cates now he started, right. He separated things with Hulk and with Bruce Banner, right? Like now we have like we already knew they were their own two individual identities occupying one body, but now with the machine that Donny created, the ship and everything like that, he has gone and he's kind of like laid a foundation to kind of take things in a whole nother direction, or I guess further in the direction that he's already started on. And it gets even a little bit weirder in this issue with Bruce Banner, and I think like it's just the tip of the iceberg, especially with now what they're going to be dealing with, where it's like, you know, where Hulk's kind of back to, you know, where things are and everything like that, like for him. So very interested to see where this series goes, but it continues to be an awesome series, Hulk. From Donny Cates and Ryan Otley again back on that one. But DC this week, Joe, we got Batman 128, Dark Crisis issue 5, which I'm a few issues. Actually, yeah, I think I'm only one issue behind on that one. Poison Ivy issue 5, which I'm planning to talk on about on the show. Sword of Azrael issue 3, Monkey Prince issue 7, Multiversity Teen Justice issue 5, Batman Night Watch issue 2, and then as far as issues go, we have DC The Deadly Green, which
No, it's
is
Dark Crisis. Anytime you see DC, it's Dark Crisis. I'm not fucking writing that entire
uh
fucking title out every fucking time.
actually, isn't it the Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths? Isn't that the full
Yeah.
title? Yeah.
Yeah.
Joshua Williamson and Dan Walters are writing and drawing that one respectively. Gotham City Year One by Tom King and Phil Hester, which means you're out, right? Because it's King in Gotham.
Well, so this is very intriguing. I'm going to read this issue.
Oh,
I'm going to
okay.
read it because it's not necessarily Batman. It's sort of a Batman universe book, but I think as long as he doesn't have fucking, you know, Batman spooning Catwoman for fucking
Mm,
10 issues and, you know, all that fucking nonsense. This actually sounds like a really good crime story built into
okay.
here. And this seems very interesting. So I might give this one a go.
Okay, that's all you. Well, you know what sounds really interesting to me. Now, this one again is more you because you read the Joker series. The Joker, The Man Who Stopped Laughing, issue 1. Now, this is a continuation from the series that Tynan and Rosenberg had been co-writing, but now it's just Rosenberg with Francesco Francavilla, who, of course, was the artist on Night of the Ghoul with Scott Snyder, and then Carmine Di Giandomenico. I think I got
Yeah,
that right.
that's as good a shot as I'm gonna get.
Okay. Wait, this looks
Yeah,
interesting.
it does look interesting. It's picking up where it left off, but now it's
Okay.
just gonna be Rosenberg, and you know I think I've enjoyed a lot of Rosenberg's stuff, but there's some things he's written. I'm like, that's not
Yeah.
my cup of tea.
Hit or miss for
Right?
us. Yep.
It's
Like
almost
Rami.
like Rom V, right? Like I love Rom V. Like when I love a Rom V book, I
Yep.
fucking love it. But
Mhm.
when I don't, I'm like, I just that's just not for me.
Yep.
You know?
100%. Yep. There's just
Yeah.
something about it that it's just not clicking for us. Doesn't mean it's
Yeah.
bad because it could
Yeah,
be.
it's just not for us, but it's like it literally is one end of the spectrum or the other, right?
Mhm.
There's no real, you know, meaty part of the curve there, right? Like someone like Snyder or Zdarsky or Lewis, you know, we're gonna read all their stuff, right? Like there's
Mhm.
certain writers, but like like I said, with Rom or Rosenberg here, it's like I either really fucking love it or I go, nope, nope, nope.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's
No.
that's enough for me, dog.
I hear that, and we're very much on the same page there. I do like a lot of Rosenberg stuff, but we're getting there in that same ballpark. But I'm excited for him to take on Wildcats because he did a great job with Grifter
Yes, he
during
did.
Urban
He did.
Legends.
He did.
Yeah.
Yep.
Then we got Black Adam Doctor Fate issue 1, which means that the title was too long for Joe to write the whole thing out. Written by Brian Q. Miller and drawn by Kevin Scott. Is Kevin Scott's an artist? I thought he was a writer for some reason.
Oh,
But
maybe he is. Whatever. I think I was so pissed off with the fucking title. I just wrote down the first two names I fucking saw because he is a writer. Yeah, so I don't know
take
the
us
artist.
through Image then.
So well, hold on. Read the rest of my notes here. Right?
Using the Black Adam buzz to sell me a Doctor Fate book. This is a number 1, but synopsis says it's chapter 4 of 4. DC, figure out your fucking deal. Also, title 2 fucking long.
Yeah.
There you go. The
There
wise
we go.
words of Joseph Gilmore.
So from Image, we have a slew of books as always. Time Before Time, number 17. I discussed that book not too long ago. Absolutely love it. Definitely want to check that one out.
Friend of the show, Declan Shelby.
Yep. Are they friend of the shows? If they've only been on once, we have to have them on
Yes.
multiple times.
I mean, the hashtag dork says they're friends of the show, and they just because like they kind of know who they are. They don't
Okay,
even.
gotcha.
Yeah, I
Okay,
think we're.
I didn't know
we're
what the
right.
parameters were here.
Yes.
Image, number 6. That Texas Blood, number 18, which I have called dibs on.
Yes, it's all you.
Ordinary Gods, which I still have to catch up on. I don't think I've read 7, 8, or 9, or finished 7,
I didn't
8,
read
or 9.
9, but 8, 7, and 8 were good. It's a
Golden
dense book.
Rage.
That is, if there's, I don't want to ever promote trade waiting, but if there's one book I would understand it for people.
I think that's how I have to do this book because it's for me, it's a lot.
It's
Golden Rage, number 3, and then I'm going to go over the number ones before because there are a couple books we want to discuss here. So Junkyard Joe, number 1. This is written by Jeff Johns with art by Gary Frank, and this is a Geiger verse story. So this is within the Geiger verse. So I loved Geiger. Geiger was a book that kind of came out of nowhere for me. I didn't initially read it because Jeff Johns,
right.
but someone said, no, I just read it, give it a go. It was really fucking good. So this is a book I'll peek at. I don't know if I'm interested in too much of the Geiger verse. I just kind of want that main Geiger story, but we'll see. We've got Kaya, number 1, written and drawn by Wes Craig. 3 Keys, number 1, written and drawn by David Messina. Don't tell K-Log. And then this one has my attention. This one really has my attention. Image First's Neo Noir, Brubaker Phillips, and it's a collection of short noir stories by the two of them.
That's
so
cool.
I mean, I'm in.
Yeah.
That's all I need. Brubaker Phillips is all I need, pretty much.
Yeah, definitely.
But we got a couple books here. We wanted to King Spawn, number 15. I haven't read it yet, but I will be doing that tonight.
Yes. If you need a refresher for those of you who read issue 14, but it's like, it's been a month. Definitely, I have one for you on Geeks Worldwide, along with a little review for that one.
There we go. Undiscovered Country, number 21. That's starting to pick up some more steam.
Yes.
But the 2 books we want to discuss, the 2 books that blew our fucking minds. The Dead Lucky, number 3, and Rogue Sun, number 7. Nicholas, where would you like to start?
Okay, I know you want to dig into the Rogue Sun a little bit more, but I'm going to lead us off here with Rogue Sun because this. So Ryan had told us that he was going to do a Choose Your Own Adventure. We saw him at Boston Fan Expo, and I'm sure he's tweeted out about it and everything like that. Maybe he had told people beforehand too. I can't remember, but that sticks out in my head. Just also because we blew up his spot.
Maybe. I hope he's still a friend of the show.
Oh, he's definitely still a friend of the show. But again, Rogue Sun series that we absolutely love. Now, Abel was not on this issue. Totally can work within this issue, but something of note, and we do see him popping up again a little bit later on in our solicit, so maybe that's why. But this is quite the mindfuck of a choose your own adventure. And I can't go too much further than that without spoiling things, but just like be prepared to get your head spun around a little bit.
How many times did you go back and forth, 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 back and forth? You just kept reading the same shit over and over and over and over again.
Can I tell you God's honest truth? The first time I did it, I went right through.
I was like, because so for this, I 100%. It's just like, so Radiant Black, did that actually come out? Or is it yet to come out? Because when I went to go get a physical copy, it wasn't in the comic book shop.
I don't think it had come out. I think because I saw someone tweeting about it. I think it might. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe
because I need that because I tried reading that digitally and I just couldn't do it because it's all laid out like it's one long like. So, anyways, with this, I'm gonna need a physical copy of it because like with the PDF going back, if I'm like I'm just reading the same 3 pages over and over and over and over and over again. I couldn't get out of this loop I was in. And so, and I don't want to say anything more than that, but this was awesome. Even though I had the fucking Confundus charm dropped on my dumb ass, I couldn't fucking figure it out until the absolute end.
Yeah.
But it was so fun to read. And then when you do get to the end, you're like, oh fuck yes, all
Yep.
right, all
Mhm.
right,
And an awesome new character introduced
yes,
into the
oh
mix
yeah,
too.
oh yeah.
Very,
So
very cool character. So, Rogue Sun continues to like I think raise the bar and set the bar for the Massiverse. To me, again, it's one of my favorite titles in comics. Period. Not just in the Massiverse, not just that image. And another awesome series that we've gotten to talk about quite a bit on this show too. Of course, we had Melissa Flores on the show. The Dead Lucky issue 3 hits shelves this week too. And I'll tell you what, things get really, really intense. I mean, the artwork and everything like this. And this is it French Carlamongo, I believe is how you
yeah,
pronounce his name. He's been doing some great work throughout the first 2 issues, but this third issue, especially towards the end, he really kind of gets to let loose
yeah.
with Bibiana and everything. And they're like the first 2 issues, good table setters, really enjoyed it. Definitely built intrigue. This third issue is like, all right, now it's time to really get this thing moving.
Yeah, this issue takes off 100%. It takes a series off, and the art again is tremendous. Again, I love her costume. She has, to me, the best costume in the Massiverse. I love just the look and the aesthetics of everything, and just a
Hmm.
fucking tremendous
Yeah,
issue.
I don't think that's an. I think it's a pretty fair take. I mean, it's I'm like I because Rogue Sun I just like so much in all the ways.
Yeah, but her it's everything. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's just it's so fucking badass.
yeah. I think I go 1-2, but I'm not sure who
Yeah,
I give the 1-2 necessarily.
yeah.
Not to make a pun there or whatever. But anyways, Skybound, of course, who publishes through Image Comics. We have The Walking Dead Deluxe issue 48 out this week, and then there's a book that you wanted to highlight as well.
Yeah. So when Joshua Williamson was done with Robin, I was a little bummed out. I know he's got some other projects going on at DC, but this one caught my eye because he's been pumping it on Twitter a bit. Dark Ride #1. So written by Joshua Williamson, art by Andre Bresson. And so David Land has been the world's premier horror themed amusement park for over 50 years, home to the scariest ride ever created, the Devil's Due. But when lifelong fan Owen Seasons begins his first day on the job, he will discover the true horrors happening behind the scenes, the truth about the park's reclusive creator, Arthur Dante, and the job of his dreams might just be a living nightmare. So this sounds pretty good, and I'm generally a big fan of Williamson's work here.
Mm,
So seeing him outside of DC in more indie, independent, creator owned world where he'll take it. It's going to be a theme this month, guys and gals and people. There's a lot of spooky books being
yeah.
dropped this week for some reason. But this is one I definitely want to check out.
Okay, let me know how you like it, because again, like this was not on my radar. So if you want
Yeah.
dibs, like,
Yeah. I'll read the first issue. Let you know. I
okay,
get back to you.
sounds good. Because that does sound interesting, and Williamson does do a good job. Let's see. From Boom, we got the finale for Basilisk issue 12. Did not disappoint. I read it. We'll
Oh,
leave it at
snap.
that
Nice.
and
I haven't read it yet.
keep things moving. Magic the Gathering issue 19 also hit shelves this week. That was one I fell way behind on. Also, not a Magic card player, but I always thought I would like it. But whatever. Anyways, Dark Horse. Do you want to take us through them, Joe?
Yep. So we have Minor Threats #2, written by your guy, Patton Oswalt. Shock Shop #2. So yeah, there's a bunch of books, especially from Dark Horse. This is a rare week where Dark Horse is putting out a ton of books, and
Yeah.
I just haven't had a chance to read them yet. But there's a bunch here I need to. So, Shock Shop #2 by friend of the show, 3-time friend of the show, Cullen Bunn. The British Paranormal Society, Time Out of Mind #4. Survival Street #3. Mind Management Bootleg #4. More friends of the show, Dave Dwanch and Brockton McKinney's Jenny 04, which I believe is the end of that volume
Volume
2,
2, issue 4. Yes.
volume 2, issue 4. And then we have #1 before I want to talk about that before I get in the book. I want to discuss a little bit more.
Okay.
We have Leonide the Vampire, Miracle of Crow's Head #1, written by Mike Mignola and art by Rachel Aragno.
Right. So one can
So,
only assume that's in the Hellboy verse, right?
well, no, he's done a few things that hasn't been
Sure.
Radio Spaceman, right? So
Right.
I'm hoping it's not Hellboy because I like Mignola and but the Hellboy stuff, we
Mm.
seem to get a lot of. So a small coastal village is
Project.
home to normal people living quiet and simple lives until a shipwreck brings a small coffin and its smaller occupant, into their midst. What begins as a miracle soon takes a turn toward the horrible and the ghastly tale from celebrated Hellboy creator. Blah, 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 blah. So, not Hellboy. Got
There you go.
potential. Definitely going to give it a look. But the book I wanted to discuss real quickly from Dark Horse is
Oh,
the physical copy
hmm,
of Night of the Ghoul #1.
you don't say.
Yeah. So
Huh.
a little bit of retribution. I've had to make you wait an entire year before you've had a chance to
Unbelievable.
read it. Uh,
Unbelievable.
so
In the end, my cheating didn't pay off. Oh, did I say
it's
that out loud?
so look for that to be discussed in full later on this month as part of our Spooktober spectacular. You like that? I
Yeah.
just go down the spot. Look at that.
TLDR Spooktober Spectacular. I guess this was technically volume 2, right? Because we did it
Yeah.
last year.
Volume 3.
Although we're only going to
We've
get to
had
talk
3 of
about.
these now. We did one that was all horror themed.
Oh, yep.
Last year we barely did anything. This year, same thing, right? So this is our third one.
Right, because we have the solicit, then we have our interview. Yes, that's
Yeah,
unbelievable.
and we got a TLDW tease
Yes, and then we're
coming
not gonna
up.
say what that is. People got to figure that out for themselves. But it's supposed to be at the end of the
All
month,
right.
right?
Yeah. So
Yes.
why don't you rip through the rest of these books here?
Yes. Okay. So from IDW, we got Picard Stargazer issue 2, D&D Ravenloft Orphan and Agony Isle issue 4. Then for first issues, we got TMNT Saturday Morning Adventures by Eric Burnham and Tim Laddie.
So real quick, I'm buying this for Swaggins if they have it because she saw the ad for this and she's been all about Ninja Turtles and she's been watching
Oh,
that
that warms my heart.
the newest cartoon on Nickelodeon. I mean, when I say newest cartoon, I mean it like whatever it was in like the mid late 2000s or the 2000 teens or whatever. Like the animation's kind of shoddy, but she loves it. So she's like all during vacation at the playground, we were playing Ninja Turtles. And so when I was reading one of my books, it had an ad for this. And she goes, "Can you get that for me, Daddy?" So it's going to be
Oh.
on her pull list.
All right. So I would prefer that she's the one that reports back, but we
You
need
got it.
to have you at least report back on this so the people can know this is a good book to pick up for your
Yep.
kids.
You got it.
But it warms my heart hearing she's in on TMNT. I know you're the TMNT guy of the two of us, and of course, Goo in the DSG loves TMNT as well. But I do love them as well. I think we all kind of do in the DSG. But then also from IW, we got Earth Divers issue 1 from Stephen Graham Jones and Davide Gianfelice. And then from Titan, we got Gun Honey, Blood for Blood, issue 2, which of course is must read. We had Charles Ardai on the show to talk about the series after the first volume and talked a little about the second volume when we had him on a little while back. And then Blade Runner, Black Lotus, issue 2. Comicsology, we got New America, issue 3, and The Never Ending Party, issue 5. And now, Joe, that we're almost 40 minutes into the episode, we can really dig into the solicit and get into what's going to come out for the 12th of October. Of course, we always start with Marvel.
I actually think we're on a pretty good pace right now as far as solicits go because we're usually now just getting to week 1. So we're like 20 minutes ahead of the game here.
Damn.
Right. So week 2, 10-12, we have from Marvel, Amazing Spider-Man #11, Daredevil #4, Venom #11, Wolverine 25, X-Force 32, Immortal X-Men #7, Fantastic Four #48. There's a lot of F's in there. Ghost Rider
Fantastic
#7.
Four. I thought that's what it was
Right.
called. But no,
Star Wars 28. Captain Marvel 42, Axe Death to Mutants #3, Legion of X #6, Gambit #4, Black Panther #10, All Out Avengers #2, Genus Vale, Captain Marvel #4, and real quick, actually a good number of Marvel books that we read coming out that week.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah. Yep.
There's some good Marvel, and then we have some
There's a
more.
lot actually. Yeah.
We have some more Axe Judgment Day tie-in books here. Yet another one from Kieran Gillen with art by Pasquale Ferry. This is Axe Eternals #1.
Mm.
And then we have Axe Iron Fist #1, not written by Kieran Gillen, but written by Alyssa Wong with art by Michael. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm not even going to try. But this appears to be a continuation from the Iron Fist series that came out. So Iron
Oh.
Fist #5, which I think I actually read the last couple issues of that and kind of enjoyed, because I think
Oh,
it
you
showed
did?
us as a Koye becoming Iron Fist in that, which was awesome.
Really? Because I read that first issue and I thought it was solid, and it was a totally different person who we'd never heard about. This is the same one you're talking about?
Maybe not then. I forget. I don't know.
Oh.
I haven't been keeping track of mine. I just remember reading an Iron Fist title, and at one point, Okoye became the Iron Fist. So maybe it was the Iron Fist. I don't fucking know.
Oh,
But
okay. Yeah.
this is picking up from the latest Iron Fist, whether it be something that's current or something that happened a year or so ago. But
All right.
yeah,
So
that's
maybe not
just
the
me.
current Iron Fist, but
Yeah.
either way, who cares?
Who knows? We digress. We spent too much time talking about fucking Iron Fist.
Mm.
Punisher War Journal Brother #1, written by Toron Gronbeck, with art by Raphael T. Pimentel. The other #1 we have here is Star Wars: The High Republic #1, written by Kevin Scott, art by Ario Anadito. So there's 2 Star Wars books. I'm going to highlight one, but I'm probably going to read both of these
Okay.
because I love the High Republic, the old Republic
The
stuff.
High Republic was a series that I was reading. I could have sworn we already got that.
Yeah,
I'm very like
it's
look.
probably getting rebooted.
I understand we get doubled up on #1s all the fucking time, but
Yeah.
I mean, I just what the fuck? I'm so confused. I mean, like we just talked about it with Iron Fist, we're getting confused, and I
Yeah.
getting Iron Fisted too, not to be confused with getting Briar. Just so everybody knows.
Marvel's throwing too much shit against the wall, but that's Marvel. That's what they're gonna do.
Yeah. Anyways.
But this real quick, we have Namor, the Submariner #1, Christopher Cantwell. Again, art by Pascal Ferry. Okay, we know why we're getting a #1 for that. But the book that's really piquing my interest here, Star Wars Visions #1, written and drawn by Takashi Okazaki. I love this dude's art. It is phenomenal art, and I
Mm.
think this is kind of what we've been talking about. Like, give us some like
Ooh.
different Star Wars stuff, right? So, Star Wars Visions episode, The Duel, featuring the Ronin. The mythology of Star Wars infused with elements of feudal Japan makes this issue a must read for Star Wars and manga fans alike. The art in this is going to be six, not Takeshi 69. Psh, get out of
Mm.
here, Bert. Takeshi Okazaki. Bert, you would actually know this guy because he drew a bunch of cards for MLB, the latest MLB The Show game. Like his
Oh.
Shohei Otani, his Randy Johnson, like those cards that you could collect in that game. The artwork was outstanding. And so I love this.
Did
Love
you
this
watch
because
Star Wars Visions?
no.
Okay, so The Duel is fucking sick. That is the
Yeah.
only one I watched, and I always meant to go back and watch the other ones, but I always try to make more time for reading comics versus watching stuff. But The Duel was badass,
Yeah,
man.
I'm gonna have to go watch that, and I'm gonna pick this book up. And this might be because of the cover art. This might be a book that actually gets hung up in Bag End
Oh
because
wow,
I love this guy's art because it's very unique, and
mm,
so I'm very geeked up for this. Oh,
nice.
we got one more #1,
Mhm,
Wakanda #1. Again, we know why we're getting this. This is various writers, Evan Narcissa, Stephanie Williams, various artists, Paco Medina, Natasha Bustos. Again, we get why we're getting Wakanda books and Neymar books, right? Because
mhm, right.
Wakanda Forever comes out in a few weeks, so they
Looks
gotta
great.
capitalize on that. Oh, that looks
Looks like it's
tremendous.
gonna be fucking. I don't want to jinx it, but I mean, like I watched the trailers, and I'm like,
I think it's gonna get the MCU back on track because you know how I feel. Phase
yeah,
4 for me has been largely a huge swing and a miss, but I think Phase 5 is what gets it back on the rails.
mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks like everybody's gonna get buy back in after that one, because everybody's looking to buy back in. But anyways, speaking of people that are off the rails, DC, we got Wonder Woman 792 coming out the week of the 12th, and Superman Son of Kal-El issue 16, a book that Joe has talked about on here. Speaking of books that you've talked about on here, Robin was a series you talked about quite a bit. The continuation of that series is being realized in Batman versus V Robin. Issue 2 is out this week, not written by Joshua Williamson, which is important to note. Batman Urban Legends issue 20, Batgirls issue 11, Justice League issue 6, Future State Gotham issue 18, Flash the Fastest Man Alive issue 2, which I believe is tying into the movie, which is a whole other mess. Then we
They should not put that movie out.
I don't think so, but I hope they figure it out. Like, because I mean, just to completely not use the whole Keaton
just
thing.
fucking can it and give us fucking Batgirl.
Yeah,
That's
I
what I'd
mean,
rather.
that would be nice. I'd be totally fine with that. Batman Incorporated is one of the first the issue ones that we're getting on the week of the 12th. Ed Brisson and John Timms are on this one, and Timms was of course originally on Superman Son of Kal-El, but he's not anymore, right? As far as you know,
Yeah, the artist for Superman Aesthetic is
bounced around a lot.
yeah. There hasn't been really one consistent writer for more than a few issues at a time. It seems.
Gotcha. But if you like Ghostmaker, who does have a cool look and does have a McFarlane action figure, so that that is his stamp of approval. He's going to be at the center of this series. It looks like, at least at the beginning. DC's Terror Through Time issue 1 got a whole mix of writers and artists in this one. Batman and Scooby Doo Mysteries, the crossover we've all been waiting for. Since I know we got the show as kids, but Shawley Fish and Dario Brazula are the creative team on that one. Apologies for any mispronunciations. Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths, Worlds Without Justice League, Green Arrow issue 1, written by Dennis Culver and Stephanie Phillips, with art by Clayton Henry and Nicole Varilla. And to quote Joe in his notes, we get it with the Dark Crisis shit.
Yeah. Get that cone out of my face. From Image, the week of 10/12, we have Spawn 334. We have Do a Powerbomb number 5. I might be talking about this book. I'm on the fence. If this is a
on the
TLDR
fence.
book.
Okay. I'm glad you checked in. I was curious.
Yeah, because I absolutely love it. Love Everlasting number 3. Seven Sons number 5. Prodigy, the Icarus Society number 4. The Least We Can Do number 2. And then we have a few number 1s from Image. We have Hitomi number 1, written by H.S. Tack, with art by Isabella Mazzanti. In feudal era Japan, a drifter with no prospect begins training in secret under Yusaki, a once famous, displaced, disgraced warrior, as she struggles to find her place in a society entrenched in discrimination and violence. So another badass female character in feudal era Japan. I will 100% be reading this first issue. We have Halloween Party number 1, written by Jerry Dugan, Brian Potion, Scott Koblish, with art by Scott Koblish. Again, Halloween. It seems like it's gonna be a couple of short stories written through here.
By the way, quick little quick sidestep with the Halloween.
Taki.
Yep. What is it? We had on Change My Mind. We had a paranormal expert on the show, and I'm telling you right now, Joe, you should listen to it because you're going to have some nightmares from listening to that shit. But if you guys are interested in that spooky stuff and you really like it, and you have a tolerance at least similar to mine, and believe me, I get fucking rattled too. I make fun of Joe, but I get scared of a lot of shit. And it's a really interesting interview that I recommend listening to in the daytime. But Tim Weisberg, awesome guest on the show.
Yeah, I will definitely check that out, because
let me know how you feel after listening to it. I want to know every time you get rattled.
Was it Monday night's episode?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I was coming over Canada. I was fucking out of it. So we have Hack Slash Hot Shorts number 1, Tim Seeley, written by Tim Seeley, art by Danielle Leister. Again, more spooky short stories. And then the Marked Halloween Special number 1, written by David Hine, art by Brian Haberlin. Your favorite tattooed witches return for a very special Halloween one shot. So if you read the marked, you're going to get a Halloween special. Nothing from Skybound, or there was, and I just forgot to put it down there, but I don't think we got any Skybound stuff. But why don't you take us through Boom, my friend?
Well, you're going to take over quickly because you have a first issue that you want to touch on from Boom that's coming out the week of the 12th. But of course, what's going to be stealing headlines throughout the entirety of the week is Joe's background. If you are not watching on the stream, Once in Future issue 30, we're going to be we have the writer, the co-creator of the series, Kieran Gillen, on the show, talking about Dan Mora, talking about the what he has planned beyond Once in Future, what the ending, everything. We have a spoiler-free section and a spoiler section. Make sure you check the show notes for that, because that is going to be important if you haven't read the issue. But Joe and I have been privy to this issue already, and if you like Once in Future, you're not going to be disappointed. We'll leave it at that. Take us through the first issue, Joe, though, of The Approach coming out from Boom on the week of the 12th.
Yep. So The Approach #1, written by Jason Hurley and Jeremy Juan, with art by Jesus Hervas. In this turbulent new horror miniseries from writers Jeremy, a storm is coming, bringing more than bad weather. When airport employees Mac and Abigail find themselves snowed in after a blizzard, they witness a terrible plane crash. After pulling a survivor from the wreckage, they realize a terrifying truth. This plane has been missing for 27 years. The nightmare has only just begun, though, as the people trapped in the airport soon find themselves confronted by what the plane actually brought back. For those with a fear of flying, it's not the sky that deserves dread, but what lies beyond it. So this has sort of a Lost, kind of vibe to it. Even though I've never watched Lost, I know enough about it, at least. This seems interesting. I've never read, at least I don't recall ever reading anything by Jason Hurley or Jeremy
No,
Huang.
I don't.
And so new team.
Jeremy Juan seems like a familiar name. I wonder if he was on The Bad Mother, or The Red Mother, excuse me.
Maybe
Mixing two
I have
titles
to double
together.
check that. Yeah. But that seems interesting to me.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
then
Boom,
and then
number
just
one.
yeah, well, that's the rule. To kind of round out the last few publishers here from Dark Horse, we have Masquerade #2 and Overwatch New Blood #4. Overwatch 2 drops today, and if you want to play it, good fucking luck. Apparently, the queues are fucking
Oh, really?
thousands of people deep.
Oof.
So people are having a hard time getting in, but it is out. I have it downloaded. So looking to play that. From IDW, we have TMNT 133 and Dark Spaces Wildfire #4. I'm all caught up on this series. This is Scott Snyder and Hayden Sherman.
That's going to be you, Joe. I'm way behind on this. I know you said I can do it,
Dibs,
but
taking it. I'm
yep,
taking it.
I
It's
have. Yep.
fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
Friend of the show, Scott Snyder, but also enemy of the show, Hayden Sherman, because of you. Our first enemy of the show, because of you.
Yeah, let's see. From Vault, we have Mindset #4, which we both sort of gave up after that first issue. Dynamite, we have 007 #3. And then they actually have a #1, Scarlet Sisters #1. This is written by Alex Segura and art by Emelina Pina. And then from Aftershock, we have a Calculated Man #4, Astronaut Down, which I believe you were interested in. Astronaut Down
dibs.
#4.
Yeah.
You called
It's on
dibs.
4? Okay.
It's on 4. Yeah. Vineyard #3, Last Line #2, and then a book that you talked about on the show, Chicken Devil. We now have Chicken Devils #1, written by Brian Bucoletto with art by Mattia Monaco. This seems like a different team, right? At least Hayden Sherman was the artist on this originally, was he not?
Yeah, something happened where I missed one of the issues of Chicken Devils. Again, this is Aftershock is not a company we get review copies from, and something happened where I fell off, not because I didn't like it, but something happened with at the fourth or the fifth issue, something to that, and where I just at my LCS, I didn't have it on my pull list. Again, gets a little complicated for us when we don't have pull lists because of our situation with review copies. But I'll check this out. I got to catch up on the other one first, because Chicken Devils was on pace to be a TLDR worthy book.
Yeah. So last book I want to talk about this week, and then we got to boot, scoot, and boogie through the remainder of weeks here, is from AWA. We have Erratic Recharged number 2. And then we have a number 1, Year Zero, Volume Zero, number 1, written by Daniel Kraus with art by Goran Suzuka. So I talked about Year Zero on this show. Absolutely loved it, right? And so now we're getting sort of a prequel to that. Daniel Kraus, he's the writer on The Autumnal. So we know what his horror chops are all about. So in this action-packed prelude to the hit series, acclaimed horror writer Daniel Kraus unveils 4 globe-spanning tales from the earliest days of the zombie apocalypse, when even the wildest rumors couldn't measure up to the horror to come. And it gives the different things, which I will save. But I am looking forward to this. I mean, Year Zero, Daniel Kraus, AWA. It's got all the markings of being an absolutely phenomenal book.
Yes, well, I want to go. I say it's the antithesis of what Bert said in the chat. To quote him, Psh. So,
Get out of here! Get out of here, Bert.
anyways, let's move on to the week of the 19th. If you have been talking enough, Joe, let's take me through Marvel, please.
All right, I will take you through Marvel, my friend, because that's what I do. Okay, we have Moon
Ooh.
Knight number 16, Thor number 2. I hate that you put the dashes instead of the vertical lines. It drives me fucking bananas. Moon Knight number 16, Thor 28, X-Men 16, The Avengers 61, X-Force 33, Darth Vader 28, which I'm all caught up on. Excellent, continues to be excellent. Carnage number 7, Iron Man 24, Predator number 3, Midnight Suns number 2, Captain America, Symbol of Truth number 6, Alien 2, Defenders Beyond, too many fucking books, Marvel. Shang-Chi and the 10 Rings number 4, again, loving that series. And then we have a couple of number 1s here. We have Crypt of Shadows number 1, various writers and artists, including Al Ewing and Jeff Shaw. Again, more Miracle Man, the Silver Age number 1. This is less writers, but Neil Gaiman, Mark Buckingham.
Yeah, which I think it's like the stuff that I don't know if it's. I was trying to read the synopsis and everything, and like, is it the
It feels
stuff
like the same
before?
thing that I posted earlier, so I don't know what the fuck's going on with this particular.
I don't
book.
know if if Neil Gaiman is doing some Marvel stuff or like it's like stuff from back in the day. I'm very confused.
For me, I feel like it's a reprinting of something older.
It might be. That's what.
Yeah.
Okay. So there we go. But there is a first issue that I wanted to. I was curious more about picking your brain on this based on the synopsis, based on the title and everything. But I would like everybody to know, in case you listen to the September solicit, where Joe kind of lectured me again and warranted for having all of the titles listed out from Marvel, from DC, and everybody. I did not miss one single title from Marvel. I did not make a judgment call or anything like that. So when you say there's too much for Marvel, now you know why I fucking do that sometimes.
We do this for the people, Nicholas.
This is very true.
It's for the people. And little note here. I definitely omitted some books from my 2 weeks.
You motherfucker! You gotta be shitting me! You go and lecture me on this? That is a total fucking dad move. This is unbelievable. hey, listen, kid. You can't go and do this. Then the kid finds out 10 years later. Wait a minute, you did that as a kid? You told me you couldn't do it. I don't know what you're talking about. I never said that. Total dad move. Unbelievable. So the one book that piqued my interest from Marvel for the week of the 19th was Deadly Neighborhood Spider-Man. This is written by Taboo and B. Earl, and the artist on this is Juan Ferreira. And I was just curious, looking at the synopsis, if this has interested you at all as a big Spider-Man guy. Again, I like Spider-Man, but not one of my like top tier superhero characters for me when you look at the big two. A revolutionary dark take on Spider-Man begins here. What is reality and what is dream? What is science and what is magic? At the intersection of all that this stands the Deadly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Peter Parker goes to Los Angeles, and what he finds there is definitely not angels. The demons waiting for Peter are going to test him like never before. One demon in particular, a very important one for Marvel and X fans in particular, might just eat Spider-Man alive. Quick side note before you weigh in, Joe, because I want to hear what you have to say. Using in particular twice in the same sentence for a synopsis, I don't love that. When you're paid to do that kind of shit, be better.
Even I know not
Thank
to
you.
repeat words, right?
There you go.
I'm very interested in this because, like I said before, that's why I like Black Label. You could take characters and do something a little bit different, because it's the same shit all the time, right? Like especially when it comes to Batman at DC, but especially when it comes to Spider-Man at Marvel, it's like here's a list of fucking rules. Here's the things you can and cannot do with Spider-Man, and it's just right. And so that's why Zdarsky's been such a breath of fresh air with Daredevil, right? So I'm
Mm,
hoping that something like this like gives us a really cool, interesting Spider-Man story
mhm.
that isn't just the same old stuff that we normally get. I mean, Chip even did this with his What If, his Spider-Man What If, which was fucked up. That's a book.
I
I'm gonna
think you
write
did it on
that
the
down.
show.
Did I do it on the show?
I think you did. Go back and double check me, but I thought you did.
Yeah. If I didn't do it, it's one that I meant to do. Maybe I did. I can't find. We done a
Yeah,
bunch
it's
of
too
these.
many to keep track of. Even though
Uh,
we haven't hit 100 yet on our mainline
well,
episodes.
yeah.
So
We also haven't done a mainline like 3 years.
yeah.
But like I'm very, very much gonna give this a read and see how it goes. Now I could read it in the back. Oh, this fucking stinks and don't get past the first issue. But I'm intrigued enough to want to pick up the first issue.
Okay, because I think this sounds like a pretty cool concept. I'm
Oh,
again
100%.
as kind of like I like Spider-Man, but not a Spider-Man guy. This seems pretty cool.
The art of the behind you there, the Spider-Man art, that's from this. That's one of the covers. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, my floating head. I know
You're
Mac already caught it. Yes, it's part of the season.
Spooooooky.
I totally unintentional. I wore my Draken shirt, and then here we are. But anyways, let's move on to DC for the week of the 19th. So we got Nightwing 97, which actually I still need to read 96. I know it's a sin because that is yeah. Would of the ongoing stuff right now, Joe, top 10 or top 5 for you is Nightwing?
Nightwing
Yeah.
right now, when it just comes to DC,
No, 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 all around. Is it top 10 or is it top 5? Because I know it's in one of those conversations at least. And I'm putting you on the spot.
I know you put me on. There's a lot of good books. I mean, the safe thing would be to say top 10. But if I'm being honest with myself, it's one of my favorite books to read each month that it comes out. I think it's a top 5 book for me.
Okay. I think yeah, and we're never going to have that kind of conversation. Like you mean over the course of a year we have that talk obviously in our annual, but it's very like there's no way we can do it month to month. But yeah, it's there's no question it's been outstanding. So issue 97 comes out the week of the 19th. Then we got Flash 787, Batman Superman World's Finest issue 8, Batman the Night issue 10, of course written by friend of the show Chip
This is a top
Zdarsky.
10. This one's definitely a top 10.
Okay. Not top 5 though. That's what I'm trying to like differentiate.
Well, I gotta. There's a lot of books, so
I
like
agree. No,
I'm going off the dome here. So I'm
it's
gonna be safer with this one and say top 10.
it's probably not in my top 10. So I don't blame you. Like it's like Nightwing is definitely on a different level. And when you look at the big two, Nightwing might be no Daredevil is right up there. I love Wolverine too. But anyways, I digress. Flashpoint Beyond issue 6, Catwoman 48, Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths, Young Justice issue 5. Joe did not abbreviate there because actually, I'm sorry, I'm the one that wrote it. DC's War of the Undead Gods, issue 3, another Tom Taylor joint. I don't know, Injustice was one that put him on the map, but I was gonna say like he Deceased was another one where he really took a huge step forward, I think, with the company. DC versus Vampires All Out War issue 4, which I think DC versus Vampires is going to be the series I talk about, but All Out War was the one spinoff and all of it that I was kind of after the first issue, I kind of was out on, but maybe I'll circle back on it just so I can talk about it in its entirety. I Am Batman issue 14, Rogues issue 4, Black Adam issue 5, written by Christopher Priest, who I'd love to have on the show at some point, Aquaman Andromeda issue 3, Titans United Blood Pact issue 4, Fables 156, Scooby Doo, Where Are You 118. That's when you know I didn't fucking skimp out on anything, Joe.
Yeah,
I'm citing
I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you.
Scooby Doo books. Let's see. We got Batman One Bad Day, The Penguin, issue 1 to kick off our first issues. That's by John Ridley and Zippy Kamakulo, who we also see in Undiscovered Country. Harley Quinn, the animated series, Legion of Bats, issue 1 by T. Franklin and Shay Beagle. If you liked the show, first of all, go listen to the review that Billy D and I did with Goo on Mac and Goo, and then read this because based on the synopsis, this is picking up right where the show left off. We got GCPD, The Blue Wall, issue 1, also by John Ridley and Stefano Raphael. First issue of that one comes out that week as well.
All right. So from Image, we have Gunslinger Spawn 13, Deadly Class 56, The Silver Coin, issue 15, Public Domain by friend of the show, Chip Zdarsky, number 5. The Bone Orchard Mythos, 10,000 Black Feathers, number 2. I'm pretty sure I called dibs on that
You did.
one.
I gave you dibs.
Yeah, that's a fantastic
no
book.
question.
Another friend of the show, Sean Lewis, Above Snakes, number 4. Another friend of the show, Rodney Barnes, Nita Hawes Nightmare blog, number 9. The Deadliest Bouquet, number 3, which I am enjoying. Nick's favorite book, Shirtless Bear Fighter, number 2. Bear Fighter 2, number 3, I should say. And then we have the Marked Halloween Special 3D, number 1 by David Hyde and Brian Haberlin. So, okay.
Yeah, I think that's
whatever.
just. I think that's like a series that happened already, if I'm not mistaken. And
Yeah,
kinda doing
just get a
special
bunch
thing.
of ones off, and then the Image imprint Skybound. We have more Walking Dead Deluxe number 49, Firepower number 24, friend of the show Chip Zdarsky Stillwater number 16, Lego Ninjago Garmadon number 5.
I'll tell you what, I haven't read Stillwater, and that is a book you talked about on the show a while back. We may want to reach out to Chip when because that's got a finite ending to it. I don't know exactly
Oh,
what it
I
is.
think 15 might be the ending actually.
You mean 16?
16, yeah. I think it's actually coming up.
Okay, do a little check on
A
that
little
for me.
research.
Yeah, well, I was gonna. Well, we had him on not too long ago because I was gonna say we should have him on when that one
This
comes
is
through.
this is off air stuff.
Yeah,
That
okay,
yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
Anyways, but yeah, Lego Ninjago is what the people really are coming for. Let's see, we got Boom, all new Firefly issue 9, Wind, which of course Joe talked in the show a while back from James Tynan, The Throne in the Sky issue 3. As for first issues from Boom, we got Children of the Moon by Victor Lavalle and Joe Ming-gyong. I'm just gonna take us through the rest of these, Joe, real quick. Dark Horse, Shaolin Cowboy Cruel to Be Kin, issue 6. Castle Full of Blackbirds, issue 2. Parasomnia, The Dreaming God, issue 3 by friend of the show, Colin Bunn. And then we got a first issue from Dark Horse on the week of the 19th, Hellboy in Love, issue 9 by Mignola and Christopher
Can't have a
Golden.
solicit without a fucking Hellboy book.
For real. With art by Matthew Smith. IDW, Crashing, issue 2. True Cult, issue 3, but the U's are V's, which I guess is a thing. I didn't know. I thought it was just this. That is a thing in general. G.I. Joe, $2.99. Just something of note for those who are G.I. Joe Real American Hero fans. We got Godzilla, Best of Mothra, issue 1, and Godzilla, Best of Grimlock, issue 1, coming out the same day, which feels like a bold move.
Real
Then we got...
bold.
What was that?
We said real bold.
Sonic the Hedgehog, Scrapnik Island, issue 1 by Daniel Barnes and Jack Lawrence. From AWA, we got Sacrament issue
You think that
3.
Daniel Barr could throw a strike?
Nah, I don't think you can throw 100. I don't think you can do that. I'll tell you what, I don't care if you can throw a strike. If you can throw 100, man, like hats off to you. That's just... But I will say, how do you throw 100 and not have it be a swing and miss pitch? That is a joke. That's insane. I know they get flat, but my God.
That's something off with the fucking radar gun is what that is.
Maybe. Aftershock, we got Samurai Doggy issue 3. There's something wrong with Patrick Todd, which Joe has raved about recently. The 4th issue of that comes out on the week of the 19th. The 06 Protocol issue 2 also comes out this week. Then from AWA, we have from Source Point Press, Heaven's Rejects issue 2. Then we have Hyperaware issue 1 by Jonathan Hedrick and Deborah Lacaniense. I apologize for the mispronunciation. And then we have another first issue, Postmasters by Christina Blanche and Garrett Gunn, who are the co-writers on this. And then the artist is Ruben Macho. And this is one that caught my eye. I'm just going to read the synopsis of this real quick. I've seen the cover art for this, and it looks really, really cool. I feel like it's been around for a little bit. We read the synopsis and then move on. But in a post-pandemic America, one of the only things still remotely functioning is the mail. But with the mass casualties to their ranks, the Postal Service has been forced to adapt to a consistently more aggressive set of routes with less and less carriers to serve them. One of the last remaining postmasters, 32, that's the character's name, sets out to deliver a one of a kind letter that's mysteriously appeared at the Western States Distribution Center. Rugged terrain, highway robbers, and the wicked all stand between 32 and his destination, but he knows the motto: neither rain nor sleet nor snow nor dark of night will stay the swift and timely completion of his assigned route. I'm very
That
in on this.
that's all you, Newman. This movie came out with fucking what's his name there? Uh,
What a callback! Because
who's
you
the
fucking
fucking
texted me a goddamn Newman gift today because you evil sadistic bastard.
This already came out. Postman with fucking Kevin Costner like a decade ago. No, it's all you, bro.
Okay.
But from AWA, we have Sacrament number 3. I don't know if you mentioned that or not, but
I thought I did, but yeah.
Sacrament's been fucking terrific.
Yeah.
Roman. Yeah, all you. I'm gonna read a book, go with one delivered mail.
You know what? Dibs. Fuck
Yeah,
you.
can't take it.
Let's see what happens.
I'll tell you what, I won't be accidentally reading that one.
Hey, Good Boy kicked ass. So, I mean, again, not a TLDR book because of like the like it can be summed up in pretty much like 2 sentences, but that was an awesome book. But anyways, let's head over to the week of the 26th and try and wrap this up in an efficient manner. We'll see though. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll
that
see.
Kind of night. You got a diesel over there, and who knows what I got in my U.S. Open Cup. So
yeah.
That kind of
Jesus. So for Marvel, Amazing Spider-Man 12, Venom 12, Wolverine 26, Axe Judgment Day number 6, New Mutants 31, Strange number 7, Dr. Aphra number 25, The Variants number 4, Avengers Forever number 10, X-Terminators number 2, Thunderbolts number 3, Iron Cat number 5, X-Men Legends number 3, Damage Control number 3, Wild Cards, a Drawing of Cards number 4, Mech Strike, Monster Hunters number 5, Ultraman, The Mystery of Ultra 7 number 3. Now, here we are, week 3. I praised Marvel saying, oh, a lot of books out this week, but I'm reading a lot of these. Week 4, 1,000 fucking books, and I'm reading one.
Yep. Just
one.
Wolverine. Yep.
Wolverine. Get the fuck out of here. But
are you glad that I put all of them there for you?
I am, because it's a service for the people, Nicholas. Moon Knight Annual number 1. Plus, it helps prove my point that Marvel puts out too many books in a week. Moon Knight Annual number 1, written by Jed McKay, with art by Federico Sabatini, and Strange Academy Finals number 1, written by Scotty Young, with art by Humberto Ramos.
I'll tell you what, the one quick thing about Strange Academy, because you were reading that in some capacity, right? At one point,
I started and then I fell off. When the pandemic, was in full force.
The Midnight Sun stuff that's going on that it seems like it has a significant Strange Academy. Well, it definitely has a Strange Academy tie-in. I don't know how significant it's going to be, but I am a little concerned as I want to try and read that going forward. But anyways, DC for the week of the 26th, we have Detective Comics 1065, Action Comics 1048, DC versus Vampires issue 10, Batman Beyond the White Knight issue 6. Huge week for TLDR between those 2 books. What?
I still have to read issue 5 because it came out last week.
I might be with you on
that. I'm not dying really to get into it.
Yeah, this is definitely of the Batman White Knight arcs. This has definitely been number 3. But again, like this is, I do question: is it because we got the Red Hood stuff in between, or is it because
it's been a bit of a layoff?
Because we like the story. So that's
we'll see how he wraps it up. But I just wanted to point that out there. Like I'm not jonesing.
I might wait till we get to the week of the 6th. Actually, no, we might already have the 6th. Once we get access to the 6th, I'll read 5 and 6 at the same time.
Yeah,
I think is what I'll do. Then we get Harley Quinn 23 coming out the week of the 26th. The Human Target issue 8, Catwoman Lonely City issue 4, Deathstroke Inc. issue 14, which I don't talk enough about on this show, but Joshua Williamson did a really good job with that series. I don't know who's writing it now, but Dexter Soy is the artist on this, so I'm having a good time with this series. Tim Drake, Robin, issue 2, Batman Fortress, issue 6, DC Horror presents Sergeant Rock versus the Army of the Dead, issue 2. I might wait till that one comes to an end. I don't feel bad trade rating when we're talking about the big two. That's a totally different story. DC Mech issue 4, Young Justice Targets issue 4, Batman The Audio Adventures issue 2. Then we got a couple of first issues, two that I think are worth highlighting. Actually, maybe all three. Batman Gotham Knights Gilded City issue 1. Now, I mentioned earlier in this in our solicit that Abel is on a DC series. I don't know how long this is going to run, but this is what Abel is working on right now. For those who are wondering who's Abel, Rogue Sun. If you're reading that, he was the artist on the first 6 issues. I'm hoping he's going to be coming back at some point to that title because he is Sean Murphy like, and I love his artwork. Part of why I
Yeah.
love that series as well. The writer on this is Evan Narcisse, who I believe you mentioned earlier in the episode. But do you want to take us through the book that I highlighted for you? Actually,
Yeah, you highlighted Punchline, the Gotham game #1, written by Teeny Howard and Blake Howard, with art by Gleb Melnikov. And so Punchline, there was a point in time where I was very much interested in Punchline. And I think it was who did they let write her? It wasn't
was
Mariko
it Tynan that
Tamaki.
did some stuff?
It was Tynan did some stuff, and then it was either Mariko Tamaki. It wasn't Peach Momoko.
It wasn't Rosenberg, was it?
No. It was a female writer, and it's
Oh,
eluding me at the moment. Oh,
let's see if I can find it for you.
Mirka Andolfo, I think, wrote an issue, and I loved it. And then like
Oh,
they kind of botched Punchline for me for a little bit. They put Sweeney Boo as an artist for some of her stuff that was on like the back pages of the Second Story and Detective Comics, and
oh,
I do not like Sweeney Boo's art. It was way too cartoony, and what wasn't my style at all. And so I've kind of fallen off Punchline. I think she can be. I think she at one point in time there was a lot of potential, and DC kind of dropped the ball with the character, and they
yeah.
lost that momentum. So I will give this issue a shot for sure, but I'm not as high on Punchline now that I was, say, a year ago.
Good to know. I think I missed that when that happened. I mean, again, we talk about so many different books, but maybe I forgot. But I'm very curious. Like, I would love to know how you feel about this first issue because the way you talked about the character, obviously, like Harley Quinn gets a ton of respect. Obviously, everybody loves Harley Quinn and everything like that, and it's all deserved. But DC took Harley Quinn in a different direction, where it's like Joker manipulated her and now she's kind of doing her own thing. We've seen it in the show. The show has been outstanding. I absolutely love it. And they've done different things with her in the comics. But when you look at Punchline, it's like it kind of feels more like the way you
Punchline
talked
was a
about her.
true sociopath.
Yes, like she was dating Joker, but like she was doing what she wanted to do. Like they were almost a better match, essentially.
Yeah, because they're both narcissistic, sociopaths with
Hmm.
psycho. It's like there was great momentum, and then so
Yep. Speaking of maniacs, it's something we've been waiting on for a little while, like a tease a while back
yes.
that did get a little blowback, was Riddler Year One, written by Paul Dano. And the reason he got blowback because when it got announced, everybody hyped up Paul Dano, or sorry, DC hyped up Paul Dano, but forgot to mention Steven Subic. We won't forget to mention Steven Subic because that is how we pride ourselves on the show. We want to make sure all the creators, the writers, and the artists get their credit. But of course, Paul Dano did portray Riddler most recently on the big screen, did an outstanding job taking the character into the 21st century, while still like being, in the early stages of the Batman career and everything like that. So very excited by that. We don't need to get into this like friggin' novel length synopsis, probably more words in the synopsis, but than in the actual comic. But Paul Dano writing a Riddler series, like enough for me to give this a chance. I'm not familiar with Steven Subic's art, but I'm very excited. I'm sure he's impressive if he's pairing him with Dano on this one.
It's definitely worth a shot. Seeing these actors jump into the comic world, it's definitely had mixed results. So I'm very intrigued by this. I mean, his portrayal of the character was great, and he loved it so much that he wanted to write he wanted to write about it. So we'll see. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
But Image, right? Are we good?
Yes.
Okay. So we have Department of Truth 22. There was a point in time where this book kind of lulled for me a bit, and I talked about that. It was like kind of spinning its wheels. I didn't know where it was going. Last couple issues has definitely been picking back up. Issue 21 was fantastic. I just read that. So we're going to get Department of Truth, issue 22. The Scorched, number 11. That book's getting to be crackers. Vanish. Yeah. Vanish, number 2.
I
Again,
can't
friend
wait
of the
for that.
show, right? Ryan
Oh, yeah.
Steffen.
Yes, just friend of the show, Ryan.
Right. Image, number 7. The Magic Order 3, number 4. Sins of the Black Flamingo, number 5. Rogues Gallery, number 4.
Finale.
Unnatural Blue Blood, number 4. 20th Century Men, number 3. Flawed, friend of the show, Chuck Brown, issue number 2. And Antioch. Yep, number 2. And then some number 1s. We have Lovesick, number 1, written by Luana Vecchio.
And drawn.
Written and drawn by Luana Vecchio, my beat. And then we have American Jesus, Revelation, number 1. This is a book for Wesley Sykes. This is written by Mark Millar with art by Peter Gross.
So real quick on these two titles, because I'm very interested in both these. American Jesus, for those who don't know, has been around for quite a bit, something that I've been meaning to check into. So because there's a whole lot more but like before American Jesus Revelation issue 1. So I'll take care of this one, Joe. I'll call dibs because Millar, obviously one of the writers that I've talked about most on this show, if not the most. And then Lovesick issue 1 by Luana Vecchio, again, written and drawn by her. This seems like something that if you liked Hit Me, it might be something worth looking into. So I think we should both take a look at the first issue, see if it really hits home with either one of us, and then maybe one of us will call dibs and move forward from there. But I'm very interested in that one. Skybound, of course, we have Manifest Destiny issue 48, and then Creep Show issue 2. Let's save Boom for last because there is one book that I do want to highlight from them for the week of the 26th. Why don't you take us through everything else, Joe, for the week of the 26th?
Okay, so Dark Horse, we have Pearl 3, number 6, The Roadie, number 2. And then for number 1s, we have Dead Mall, number 1, written by Adam Cesar with art by David Stahl. Criminal Macabre / Count Crowley, From the Pit They Came, number 1, written by Steve Niles, who I believe wrote Savage Days.
Yes, Endless Nights and Town Called Terror.
Yes. And David Macklin.
Dalmatian from Ant-Man.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
And art by Lucas Kettner. And then we have Rangers of the Divide 2, Into the Depths, number 1, written and drawn by Megan Huang. I tried reading Rangers of the Divide, number 1, just wasn't my cup of tea. From IDW, we have Sonic the Hedgehog, number 54, TMNT, The Armageddon Game, number 2, and we have a Star Trek number 1 book written by Jackson Lansing and Colin Kelly with art by Ramon Rosanas.
It seems like a whole new story. Joe and I, you're not a Star Trek guy at all, right?
I mean, I enjoy Star Trek, but I really don't read the comics.
Okay, for those who are wondering, I mean, if Benjamin Sisko doesn't mean anything to you, this is a whole new story. But
well, Captain Sisko was the captain of Deep Space Nine.
Unbelievable. So there you go. So it's I don't fucking know shit. I'm trying to help people, Joe.
Yeah.
Try to be better.
From AWA, we have New Think number 5, which I have to catch up on. I loved issue 2, so I got to catch up on 3 and 4. And then same thing with Absolution. Read the first issue. Absolutely outstanding premise. I have to catch up on this as well. From Vault, we have Barbaric, Axe to Grind number 3, The Picture of Everything Else number 4, and Heart Eyes number 3. With Nightfall double feature, Tim Daniel plus Dave Andry, Daniel Kraus and Mon House, and Chris Sheehan. So Daniel Kraus, Chris Sheehan, they were the team on Autumnal. David Andry wrote Resident, which I talked about on this show. Absolutely love. So I will definitely be checking this out. Vault's got some big things cooking in the next couple months.
One quick a note on this. It seems like it's kind of like what's going on with Shock Shop, where you got two different stories because Tim Daniel and David Andry on one story, then Daniel Kraus is writing the other one, and then Manhouse is with the first group, and then Christian with Kraus.
Yeah. So we got some really great teams, right? So that's going to be fantastic. From Aftershock, Dogs of London number 3, Astronaut Down number 5, Where Starships Go to Die number 5, Jimmy's Little Bastards number 2, Valiant, we have Bloodshot Unleashed #2. Comixology, we have Canary #3. Source Point Press has a couple of #1s here. Caffeinated Hearts #1 by Jonathan Hendrick and Stefano Cardelli. A Guardian #1 by Easton DeVerna and Kay Bard. And Argus #1 by Mark Bertolini with art by Daryl Nickerum. And you want to discuss Boom?
Yes. So from Boom, we have a lot coming out on the week of the 26th. House of Slaughter issue 10, which shows talked about, and I'm sure you will talk about. Oh. Okay. Yeah.
I'm out on House of Slaughter. I think I'm out on
Okay.
House
So
of Slaughter.
is this the last chance for romance here?
Well, so I read issue 9. I'm just like, okay,
Okay.
let's wrap this up.
I know I know you've been there, and there's a difference because you've had it with. I've noticed a difference because you have some where it's like, yeah, you feel like they should maybe wrap it up, and this is like just get it done, please.
Yeah.
Let's finish this up. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers 101, which is on the exact opposite end of the spectrum. This is the start of Melissa Flores' run, friend of the show. Very excited to see what she's going to do with a property she knows extremely well, having done so much with Saban previously. We only find them when they're dead, issue 14, another Dr. Joe title. Stuff of Nightmares, issue 2, which is the R.L. Stein series, which you did read the first issue of that, right?
Yeah, it was great.
Yep, you got dibs on that one too. I mean, I know you didn't.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a TLDR book, but it was excellent. Yeah.
Okay, The Vampire Slayer issue 7, which actually neither of us are reading at this point. But then the last book that we want to talk about for our solicit, Damn Them All, issue 1, which of course falls under the Boom rule of first issues, but also written by Cy Spurrier. I saw him tweet this out fairly recently. Looked very interesting. I love the title. And the artist on this is Charge Adlard. This new dark supernatural thriller for fans of We Have Demons and Something is Killing the Children. Meet Ellie Bloody L Hawthorne, occultist for hire. Following the death of Ellie's uncle, infamous magician and occult detective, the 72 devils of the Ars Goetia are mysteriously freed from their infernal realm. It's now up to Ellie to track down each of these exiled demons and damn them right back to hell by any means necessary. Holy water, conjuration, or just her trusty, rusty claw hammer. Legendary The Walking Dead artist Charles Adlard and teams up with Step by Bloody Step scribe Simon Spurrier to introduce your favorite new occult anti-hero since John Constantine. Now,
Yeah,
as somebody,
dibs.
oh wow,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
no, I mean, hey, I said
I just want to see that dumb look on your face.
dumb look. I was like, fuck. I felt like a sad puppy dog for a second there. Fuck. I think one of us should call dibs on this because I think this sounds like very much a TLDR worthy book. I'm fine.
Take it.
Okay, because when I hear I know it's bearing the lead, but favorite new occult anti-hero since John Constantine. Obviously, I'm very interested. Again, as a huge Constantine fan. But here's the other thing: for those who don't know, Cy Spurrier wrote Constantine for 12 issues, and he did an awesome job. I wouldn't be stunned if this is some of the stuff he had planned for Constantine because the pandemic kind of screwed that series over when he was on top of it. And I believe it was a Black Label series at that point. If you like Constantine, this is definitely a series for you, and for him to have this synopsis out there. I know he's not personally penning it, but I gotta imagine he has some say in it being okayed. Favorite new occult anti-hero since John Constantine. That is serious high praise for somebody who previously wrote John Constantine. So kind of reading the tea leaves, I am very much in on this series. And I think if under other circumstances where we're trying to, this is time of the year where we really want to at least talk about one book, I'd say we would reach out to Cy and try and get him on and talk about this series. But we're going to let that one go for now. We also have other ones that we're kind of waiting on doing as well. But anyways, that is it for our October solicit, a lengthy one. But Joe, you got anything else before we get going?
Yeah, we were wildly on pace and then got wildly off pace. But hey, that's how the cookie crumbles, baby.
That is what happens when you get briared. But anyways, again, make sure if you haven't already subscribed to our audio channels because you're going to get the Kieran Gillen next week. It drops Wednesday at midnight. We will still be doing a What's New because both of us are back in the country. But until next week, Joe, stay sexy.
You